everyone. Thank you for being able to join us today. My name is Zachary Thomas Rainey. I'm the Partnerships and Events Manager here at OneValley. Super happy to be able to be speaking with you all today, and also being able to produce this webinar for you in collaboration with Brightdata, just on how startups can collect and leverage data from social media. There's a lot of opportunities out there in the market, especially for those that are hyper observant of what's going on with your data online. And yeah, I'm really excited to be able to bring on some good panelists today. Just to let you know a little bit about Brightdata. Brightdata collects networks, giving you access to sophisticated target sites using geo-targeting. Networks are at the heart of their technology and can be complemented with open source tools, enabling you to manage data collection operations using tailored crawling rules for better results and cost efficiency. Happy to be able to welcome two individuals from Brightdata here today with us. We have Anna Sharma and Itamar Abramovich, and they're going to be speaking a little bit more about this today. I'm going to go ahead and welcome Anna to the screen. Anna, if you'd please turn on your screen. Nice to see you, and thank you for joining us today. And I'm really excited to hand off the mic to you, and we can go ahead and get started with your presentation. Take it away.
Thank you, Zach, for a nice introduction. And I'm just going to start and share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone, and really happy to see all of you joining our webinar, how startups can collect and leverage data from social media. And I hope me and Itamar, we will be able to shed some light on this topic for you. As Zach said, my name is Anna Sharma. I'm a marketing manager and also an event manager at Brightdata. And today I'm going to give you an overview of social media role in business and how the situations around web data is changing for startups. So we are going to talk about how social media today become the world's largest source of data, and what we can do about it. And we'll see some standard and less standard ways how to use social media data through the real case studies, and in order to understand the scale of the modern data economy. And the most important part, Itamar is going to show you the secrets and technique of data collection from social media, how to overcome the most challenging part of it. So why collecting data from social media? Actually, this is not a new thing. Web scraping or web crawling from e-commerce website has been there already 10 years or even more. And most common use cases would be market research, competitive intelligence, price comparison. But recently, the focus shifted to social media. Most and more companies looking are to understand consumer sentiment, protect their brand reputation, find counterfeit, like protect their intellectual rights online. And to give you an example of the scale of social media influence on our lives and economy, I want to share with you two recent news that happened actually this spring 2021. The first news is coming from the financial sector. Most of you have heard about the Big Short squeeze. I'm sure it was all over the newspapers, but maybe not all of you know that this storm was created by a small investment thread on Reddit called Wall Street Bets. People from this thread were able to drive up GameStop stock price from $2.50 per share to 483, which is like 180 times more than its original value. So as you may guess, companies who were already monitoring Reddit, they were able to predict what is going to happen and prevent major losses. And those who relied on a classic company and financial data ended up taking on almost $20 billion of loss. This is a new reality for financial sector, and now we see that more and more institutional investments are navigating the connected economy through the social media data, paying close attention. The second news is coming from the Financial Times, which reported that Microsoft approached Pinterest to discuss a potential $51 billion takeover. Can you imagine this just enormous money? Pinterest decided to remain independent, but it could have been the biggest ever acquisition of Microsoft. But what is the case here? As compared to other social media, Pinterest is a relatively small platform for hobbies and do-it-yourself stuff. Why would Microsoft want to pay so much money? Maybe we can find the answer in research conducted by Nosto. It's in a commerce personalization platform. They compared social media platforms and discovered that Pinterest, despite driving relatively small amount of traffic, delivers the highest average order value for retailers, higher than Facebook and Instagram. What I want to say here that this shows us that mainstream social media is not always the answer to your marketing needs. In many cases, you may find that a smaller social network targeting a narrow audience can drive more revenue for you and your business. And that's why one should keep monitoring all kinds of social media for all kinds of unexpected insights and analyze its data. So we have to monitor social media closely and preferably not only the mainstream. Easier said than done, because before 2004, when Facebook was launched, there were hardly 5 social networks and only 3% of the world's population was using it. Now we are talking about over 100 social networks and 4.2 billion people using them every day. Social media influence every area of our life: economy, politics, health, education. According to Social Media Today research, 87% of social media users rely on recommendations for social media, and 55% make a decision about buying product through social media platform. So this is a very influential data, and as a result, social media has become the most reliable and readily available source of data. You can see from this slide what are the most frequently collected data points. Probably, if you are here on this webinar, you already know about the common use cases for social media data. That's why I want to show you something which is off mainstream, but is coming to but it's getting a lot of more and more interesting cases like this. I know that you know that with the invention of social media, a lot of brands are experiencing increased brand and intellectual property infringements. It has never been easier for pirates to reach out to brands' audience and lure it into buying fake products or damaging brands' reputation through smear campaigns. So how do you find this? How to fight this with the help of social media data? A company called Red Points has developed a really innovative way to help brands protect themselves. They continuously scanning social media for a variety of data points, from brand and product mentions to fake social profiles and pages which appear in search results. But what they quickly realized that in order to be able to serve hundreds of their customers, they had to collect data from tens of millions of pages and search results and do it every day. Supporting this kind of data operation was drawing resources from their main business, and if they wanted to scale up, it meant more infrastructure to buy and more engineers to hire. So this problem was solved for them after they implemented data unblocking tools that Itamar also going to talk about today, and they were able to expand their offering and relocate their workforce from debugging and unblocking websites to other activities, saving a lot of resources. By the way, I thought you would like to know that when Redpoint started, the market of intellectual property was dominated by law firms. And now this company is considered the fastest growing brand protection solution in the world and raised $64 million of investment. So I think it's a very exciting example for the startups. And can social media data help fight social inequality, social injustice? My next example is an American company named Mattison that is ensuring the best diversity practice in hiring. What Mattison is doing, they're using data collection tools to connect underrepresented job seekers with employers who are committed to diversity and inclusion. They aggregate job posts and data on diversity practices for companies and create the largest diversity talent and employment database, which would be impossible without robust data collection operation in place. To summarize, I want to say that we cannot underestimate the significance of social media in today's data world. It's changing the lives and not only the businesses, changing them to better. And every social media matters and it can play a major role in your marketing strategy. The only way to find out which one is right for you is to collect and analyze the data. And collecting data from the social media is not optional. It's almost a must for every online business. Yeah. So I just wanted to round it up actually and tell that that's a good time for startups, because earlier only like Google and Amazon, who had hundreds of engineers and thousands of servers, could afford to see global web data. And with the modern data collection technology, you can have it all on demand. And I would like to give a microphone to my colleague Itamar Abramovich, who is going to show you exactly how we are able to do that. If you have any questions, you can also ask me at the end of the webinar.
Thanks, Anna. So just share the screen. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Hey, so thanks, Anna. My name is Itamar Abramovich. I'm the data collector product manager in Brightdata. And as Anna explained, today we're going to talk about how to collect social data collection. I will try to do the intro as short as possible to show you how to really doing that. And I'll encourage you all to sign up. And I will speak about it in a second. So a little bit before we start is why collecting data is a hard task. So first of all, as you know, today when you are trying to collect data from a website, it may work, but tomorrow something may change, meaning that the website can change, the appearance of the website can change, and then your collection, your crawler will need to be updated. One example for it is that Facebook, I think 4 months ago, maybe a little bit more, changed drastically the way that they are, the appearance of their website, meaning that all of the collectors out there in the world needed to be changed. So this thing is really hard because first you need a system that's saying something has changed, and then you also need to write another code or change the code, adapt it, so it will work. The second thing is that even if you're trying to send some request to any website, it may work, but after doing it in a large scale, maybe in some cases after 10,000 requests, in other cases more, you will get blocked. So this is what we call the scalability issue, is that if you are trying to large, and especially in social media, if you try to collect a large amount of data, in most cases you will get blocked. Now, a little bit about getting blocked. The easy block is that you're just not getting the data anymore. And why we are saying that it's an easy block? Just because that it's an easy thing to a system to notice that something is wrong, and then it's a very hard task to unblock a website, but at least you know that something is wrong. A delicate block or a soft block is something that the website is kind of understanding that you're trying to collect data from them, and then they are trying to alternate the data, so it will be a little bit different. An example for it, not from the social media industry, is that if you're trying to collect prices from e-commerce website, you can see prices that are not the real prices because the website is identifying you maybe as their competitor, and they don't want to see the real prices, so they will still be competitive. So this is a little bit about blocking issue. Now, to make sure that you are doing everything right, meaning that you have the right person to the job, meaning the right developers, to fix the collector if they're now not working because of changing website. Also making sure that you have the right infrastructure, make it all really resource heavy, and you need to have a lot of investment in order to do it. So just as one example, if you want to collect 20,000 URLs, and when I'm saying URLs, I mean, for example, 20,000 profile from Instagram. So this is not a lot. 20,000 is kind of a low number, especially in the social media industry. So to do that, and if the website for the website, it will take 6 seconds to get you the data. For example, you want to click on some button and then click on another button, and then in the end, you have like a short workflow that the website need to do. And then you are getting to the right data, and then of course you want to get it back to you. So if this thing will take you 6 seconds and you have just 2 CPU cores, it can take you up to 16 hours. Now, again, when you're speaking about collecting data, you need to do it fast, maybe on a daily basis. Some of our customers want doing that on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and they cannot wait for 16 hours just to collect 20,000 profiles. So that means that you need more CPU, more core, more infrastructure, and this thing may cost you a lot. So just as a short explanation about any kind of data collection industry out there, so in order to collect data, you need always three pillars. So the low pillar is somewhere like a server that you need to host your crawler, your spider. You know, everyone is calling that a little bit differently, but some piece of code that telling the website what to do and getting the data to your database. So in order to do that, you need an infrastructure to host this code. And of course, the more data that you want to collect in parallel, this part need to be bigger, meaning you need more bigger infrastructure. On top of it, you need a proxy service. And why do you need a proxy service? Because if you will try to do that just from one IP, most likely you will get blocked really fast. Try to do it by yourself, by the way. Try to write a small piece of code that is just collecting data from any kind of website, and you will see that maybe after 100 requests, maybe more, depending on the website, you will get blocked. So for this, you need to choose any kind of proxy service out there. We are just one of it. And there are some different kind of proxies. And if I need to summarize it really fast, we have the data center, not just us, also other companies. There are the data centers proxies. We also have the residential proxy, meaning some real user outside of like in the world that we will direct the traffic through him, so we will get the real data. Meaning that if you want to collect data from, let's say from Instagram, so we will direct the traffic to from a real human being somewhere in the world. You can choose, for example, for someone from US, and then through him we will get the data. And also we have the ISP proxy that is some kind of hybrid in between, because it's kind of like data center, because we are using data centers, but also we are buying kind of an IP from an internet service provider, so it will look like a residential proxy. So this kind of thing with, of course, with your crawler will give you I guess, kind of a good result. But then after a few requests, in some cases you will get blocked. So in these cases, you will need to have the unblocker mechanism. An unblocker mechanism is another piece of code that will help you collect the data in a way that for example, we send cookies and we'll change the user agent and stuff like that. So the data will get unblocked. So all of this is the data collection operation. And now we're getting to the real demo. So just before we start, I want to explain what is a collector in Brightdata. A collector in Brightdata is a piece of code that is doing something very specific. For example, if you want to collect data from Instagram profile, so you need to use the Instagram profile collector. And this collector will need an input of a profile URL, and in return, will give you the output example, will give you like an output of, for example, the picture of this profile. It can be the URL, for example, the number of posts, the number of followers, and everything, to be honest, that we can see here on the screen. For example, the bio, and the post, of course. So let's go into the demo now. And of course, that if you have questions, you feel free to stop me and ask. Just before we continue, I have to say that for every one of you, you have $500 bonus to use Brightdata. And here from the OneValley website, you can see underneath that you have the click here, the check out this offer here. And if you will sign to Brightdata from here, you will get the $500 bonus. So how does it really work? After you are signing up to Brightdata, you click on the data collector page, and here you can choose the right thing for you. So for example, you can choose Instagram. I have to say that we have a lot of collectors, and I'm seeing more than you will because I have the root account. But in any case, we have more than 1,000 collectors. Some of them are private, some of them are public for you to use. So this is the one that you're seeing now. These three ones are public ones. And of course, that if you need something more specific, you can ask us to help you with that. And of course, we'll modify this to be exactly for your needs. In any case, you can choose the right profile for you. So for example, the right collector for you. So for example, Instagram profile. And here you can see that this collector is about collecting data from a profile URLs of a profile of Instagram profiles. And the output for it will be all of these things. For example, the caption, the biography, the profile name, the profile image, and etc. Everything that you can see here is something that you can collect. Now, in order for you to check it, you need to choose this template, and it will take a second. And then you will get to the most, I guess, interesting place, that is the real data. So I'm doing something risky because this is a version that we just now uploaded, but I will try it nevertheless. So here you can add all of your inputs. You have a limitation of 100 records that you can use. So for example, I'm adding the account of Brightdata, meaning I will get the data from Instagram about this profile, Rolex and Brightdata. And when I click get the data, it will start collecting the data. So this is the risky part. Hopefully it will work fast now. In the meantime, I will say that we are collecting more than one post per each profile, meaning that, for example, just for Brightdata, we collected all of these posts. As you can see, we're doing the same also for Rolex, just as an example. And you can see here all of our posts that we just now got. And each and every one of them is a line that you can use in multiple options, like in Excel or CSV, or any other kind of format that will be relevant for you. And this one are for Rolex. You can see all of the data. And the one thing that is important to say here is that in some cases, maybe you will want something that it's not here or something that is missing. So in this case, just click report an issue, tell us what's wrong, and someone will do it, fix it right away, and will let you know when it's done. In any case, after you are choosing the right collector for you, you need to click done. And here you will see that you have two options. One of them is the delivery method option, and the other one is output configuration. So I will start really fast with the delivery method. So after you clicking here, you need to choose 4 options that is relevant to anyone that is collecting data. So the first option is on-job completion. And this case is, we have 2 options here. The first option is if you want to collect the data in a way that is on a job completion, meaning you want to send us thousands of profiles, and just when it is done, you want to get the report back. So this is the on-job completion. Now, in this case, especially when we are speaking about social media, maybe your delivery system cannot handle so many profiles or so many posts. For example, we have customers that are searching for hashtags that produce a lot of posts. So in this case, we have the option to split delivery into small batches, meaning that in this example, every 10,000 records, we will send it to you, and then it will wait for the next 10,000 before sending the next one. The real-time option is something that is very interesting, and we saw some use cases, very interesting use cases from our customers. For example, one of our customers is using the real-time option to collect real-time data from Instagram, that is the biography. So in a nutshell, he want to do some kind of verification with some influencer out there. So he's asking the influencer that want to work with him, of course, to change the biography just for 2 seconds to something that he's telling them to write. For example, a specific numbers, digits, or text. They are doing that in their biography. Then with us, it's checking in real time, in less than few seconds, what is their biography, and if the numbers or digits match, it means that they are verified. So this is like another use case for real time, and we have so many very interesting use cases. If you want to learn more about it, you can check it in our website. Regarding the format dataset, so most companies, startups, are using data in a way, in a JSON way, meaning it's very structured and super easy to do something with it for their databases. So they're using JSON, but also if other companies want to use CSV or Excel, they can also do that. Now, after you're choosing all of these 3 options, you need to choose how you want to collect the data. So if you're doing a test, it will be super easy to do it with email. But if you want to do it in a high scale, I guess that you will choose an API delivery, meaning that you will send the request and get something in return, or a webhook, meaning the webhook will wait for the data to be collected and then send automatically to the webhook. You will see that in the webhook again. Other options are Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, or Microsoft Azure. All of them are storages that we can deliver the report to you. And of course, FTP. All of the rest are less important, so I'm just skipping it. And the last thing that I want to show is that the most, I guess, important thing out there is the data itself. So in these cases, you can click on the output configuration, and then you will see all of the output data points that are relevant to your screen. So for example, you can see here that we have an account and caption and profile name and all of these things. So for example, if you think that let's say that the following numbers are way more important than the other or the like, you can just drag it up. This will change the JSON to look like that. If, for example, you will want to get, you will say it's more relevant in e-commerce website, but still, if you will say that without likes, this thing is not important at all, and you don't want to pay for it, so you can just click as required, and if you will not be able to get it for any reason, you will not get charged for this collection, specific line. In any case, when you are done, you're clicking on Update Collector, and now you just need to run it. So the easiest way to run it, just for test, of course, is initiate manually, and now you can add all of your data here in this option. And of course, you can limit the number of posts that you are getting. This will, of course, affect the pricing. But for example, if you want to get 100 posts for this profile and just 20 for Brightdata, you can do that. I guess that when we were speaking about startups and you want to really integrate it with us and do it in a large scale, you will need to use an API. So the easiest option is just clicking here on Initiate an API. Then you will see how to use it. So this is just one example how to run it, how to call it. And after you run it, you will get the second option to get it back. This is for real time. And if you will choose not the real time, I mean the batch option, it's just one request and you get the data in return when it's done. So it's super easy to use. Of course, that if you will try it after you sign up, of course, and you will see this automatically changing when you are running it from your command line or any other software. You will see it automatically change, and you will see the data not just in your software, but also here in the screen. So this was a little bit about how we collect data from Instagram profile. And of course, that we have some other stuff, for example, seeing the statistics for it to see how much time it will take. And if you are more advanced user and you want to do some more advanced thing, for example, update the collector itself to do a more complicated workflow, you can click on edit the template. Any one of you that know JavaScript can click on it and change it here. So for example, if you want the peer, the IP that we are using in order to collect the data to be not from UK, but from the US, just change it here, super easy. We have a lot of function that will help you understand what's going on here. We have the part of the code, the interaction code, and we have the other part, meaning how we interacting with the page, for example, waiting for an element, clicking on an element, things like that. And also the parsing code, what exactly from the screen you want to parse. And of course, that we have steps, meaning that if you want to do more complicated things, maybe moving from a page to page, and then collect the last data from the last page, you can also do it by moving to other steps and do it from there. So that was a little bit about data collection. And now I just want to explain a little bit about what's the difference between the public collector that I explained earlier and what's the difference between private collector. So public collector is mostly for social media because most social media like Telegram channel, Reddit, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that are super interesting for a lot of customers. So these are public collectors and they are available for everyone to use. We are maintaining them, meaning that every time that something is changed, we are changing the collector to make sure that it's still collecting data. We are every 3 minutes doing something that we call a sanity check to make sure that the website is still working. The collector is still working and we can still collect the same data points from this website. And of course, that we are doing that mostly for popular website and general use case. But if you have some maybe rare websites that are social rare website or any other website that you want to collect data from, or unique use cases. For example, something that no one else is doing, maybe connect between two kinds of social media and then do something, to collect all of the data. I don't know, something that is really unique. You can also ask us to do that. We have a form for it. You can fill up, explain what you want to do exactly, and someone will get back to you in less than a day, hopefully with the collector ready for you to start testing it. So in general, and to summarize, we have thousands of collectors, private and public, that are currently active. And I guess that the most important thing to say here is that we have just one limitation, and this limitation is relevant to any kind of SaaS provider like us out there. So first of all, we are just collecting public available data. Public available data. What do we mean by that? If we need to log in into a website to collect the data, we will not do that. So for example, if you want to collect data from Facebook that is public, no problem. If you want to collect data from a group inside Facebook that is private, we will not do that, other than just showing you the data that is public for this private group. For example, in some cases, we saw that the number of people that are inside this group is a public data. The posts themselves are not public data, and we will not show it to you. So we don't collect data that need login. And the other thing is that the limitation for the speed, because speed is super important when you're collecting data, in Brightdata is that we are getting from third parties. What is the traffic for this website, and we will not exceed it. Again, because we are speaking about social media, in most cases, it's not a real limitation because social media websites are built to be super fast and have a lot of traffic. So in any case, we will check it, and then this will be our rate limit, so we will not exceed it. And now we got to the part of the question, so feel free to ask us anything or anything that wasn't clear to you. And Anna, please feel free to join this slide also.
Yeah, Phil. For all of our attendees here, if you have any questions for Itamar or Anna, feel free to pop those questions in chat, and we'll be happy to get to them. If you have any questions about your own personal, like what you're looking for your startup, what kind of data should you be harvesting, anything along those lines might be relevant. And we have some fantastic speakers here to bounce these questions off of. So feel free to post those into chat. As just kind of a primer question for you guys, I do kind of have one, and just for the startups in the group, and then we can start from there. So say I have a startup, I have about 3 to 5 members on my team. I don't really have a dedicated social media manager. What kind of what would my engagement, what should my engagement look like on social media in terms of capturing metrics from it? Because I can't spend my entire day looking at social media. I have many other tasks that I have to accomplish. So what would you recommend for the CEO that's doing the social media on the side, where should they kind of focus their fire, so to speak?
Anna, you want to take it or should I?
Well, I think it's more to you. It's like how
Okay.
you can do, yeah.
So Brightdata is supplying you data. So for example, if you want to collect leads from a specific social media, for example, you have a brand or you have some kind of a hashtag that is representing your brand. For example, you are selling shoes and you want to see people that are interested in shoes or posted pictures of shoes, maybe they will be relevant to you. So we can use a collector that we have that is the hashtag collector for, let's say, Instagram or any other social media. And then you can use these terms in order to collect their data. For example, sending us shoes as a term and getting all of the people, not emails or something like that, because we don't have emails in Instagram, but you have all of the emails for these kind of people that are posting stuff. And then you can send them, maybe you can send them some kind of a chat or saying something, or you know, post something to them. Now, we are not trying to fight specific softwares that are giving you the social media all in one, you know, instead of just hiring someone to do that. What we are trying to do is just helping you collect any kind of web data and then incorporate this data into your system so you will do something smart with it. So we will not give you ideas what to do with it, but yes, we will help you collect any kind of web data out there, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Some of the use case that we have is getting leads, train AIs, maybe enrich your data. For example, you don't have the picture of someone and you want to get the picture of this guy. So all of these things are things that you can do with Brightdata.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a great point. Maybe like bringing it down to just a few keywords or a few hashtags that are really relevant to your brand, and then going from there to into the market to see what really is relevant from there, and like collecting the data first and going back and analyzing it later, as you said in your presentation. Anna?
Yeah. The beauty of this that you can set it up automatically. Like you only have to decide in the beginning what kind of data you need, how often you need, and where you want them to be delivered. And the rest, you know, like is automated with Brightdata tools. So you only have to collect it, you know, like just get it from your server or from your email. So in terms of workforce, you don't need a special person dedicated to this process.
And something that is important to say about workforce. So if you are collecting data that is relevant to your startup, for example, you want to collect data to train your AI, or you want to collect data that is really the key things for you to succeed, because you know getting the data is the first thing, but then you need to do something, get an insight. This is your startup, getting the insight for this kind of data. So to do this kind of thing, you need an operation. And now, especially when you're speaking about startups that don't have, especially startups that are in their beginning of their life cycle, you need to do it really fast, because just getting the data is super hard, but this is the minimum thing for you to succeed. All of your other competitors already have the data. And now you need to work on your insight. You need to make sure that your product is amazing. Your product is doing something that their product is not doing. So just collecting the data is a really hard task. So what Brightdata is offering is kind of an operation that is not just the infrastructure for it, but also the right collectors for it. So if we don't have the right collectors, you can tell us exactly what you want to collect, and then we will build it for you. We will build the right collector for your need. And we are learning a lot out of all of these startups that are working with us. Just 3 days ago, we had a workshop and I met 3 guys from a startup that just trying to collect some specific data point that I never thought that someone will want to that will want to collect, because it's super important for their job. So we developed a collector for them in less than a day, and now they are using this collector to train their AI, and now they have a really great insight that their competitor don't have. Now these guys are maybe 4, and they don't have the ability to work on, you know, on all of these infrastructure things and all of the collection things that are really hard. And this is what we are trying to fix here. We are trying to give you something really fast. So we will focus on getting you the data, and you will tell us what you will tell yourself, I mean, what you want to do with it, and create an insight out of it. And by the way, this is kind of connected to a question that John asked us. If how do we ensure the profile that the profile that we are collecting are real or fake? So the honest answer is that we are not. We are just collecting the data. Now your system is the system that will check if this is fake or not, maybe by the number of posts that they have, or maybe if they don't have a lot of friends, or maybe if all of the friends seem suspicious for some kind. So this kind of things is something that you need to do from your side. but we will help you first collecting the data that in most cases, for most companies, are the hard things to do.
And that's an excellent point. And yeah, data collection is really important. Also, finding out those fake profiles, I also feel like is also integral portion of data collection is like you kind of suss that out through the data, is figuring out which ones are real, which ones are fake, right there in the beginning whenever you're collecting that. We have another question from Kobla. Hopefully, I didn't butcher your name. As you begin to collect your data, does Brightdata have tools to group the data and measure relevance to what the individual startup is working on to accomplish it, or just get some kind of data from there? Do you do any cross-market stuff? Are you looking at other kinds of data as well, or is it whenever you're pulling these things, is there any comparison being done?
So we are not doing that, at least not now. We are thinking now about doing other things like that. But from what we are seeing from most of the companies that are working with us, this is exactly what their software are doing. So they are collecting data from multiple sources. And then in some cases, they are cross-referencing all of this data to check if this makes sense or not. So for example, if we are speaking about a totally different industry, the travel industry, when you're trying to collect data about an hotel, let's say, and you're getting a price for a room, maybe one of the things to check if in other websites this is the same price, because if it's not kind of the same price, maybe 10% more, 10% less, maybe you are getting the wrong data. So these kind of things are something that we are thinking about doing as a cross-reference checks. But for now, no, we are not doing that. But we do help you collect data from multiple sources. By the way, collecting data from multiple sources is kind of hard because even though that you are trying to collect data, let's say from Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, in the end, you need just one structured database. Otherwise, you will work really hard in order to combine all of this data and to cross-reference things. So what we are doing today is that we are creating some kind of schema per customer. So the customer can say, you know, I don't care if it's Facebook or TikTok. I just want to collect the profile name. I want to collect the picture and maybe the number of posts. So maybe in Instagram, it will be pictures and not posts or something like that, but in the end, it's posts. So all of these kind of things are being structured as one database, so you can add more data sources to your account, and in the end, you will get it in a one structured database, so it will be super easy for you to cross-reference and check between multiple sources of data.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think another question kind of based off of that as well is saying you just being able to pull that data from all these multiple sources. All of these sources, they change kind of their code or how they build their websites, how they capture their metrics, and their APIs break, or their software development kits need updates, and then they have to roll those out. So, and sometimes that breaks like your infrastructure to pull all of this all these metrics yourself. So what would you advise like a CEO who is like struggling with that kind of infinitely changing, infinitely iterating scheme of code that's going on outside of the web? And how do you stay up to date with that kind of stuff while you're trying to run your own business?
So first of all, I will tell you what we did in order for all of our customers to stay up to date with our collectors. So we created some kind of a system that is every X amount of hours, in our case, every 3 hours, is checking for a specific, let's say, profile. If we are speaking about this specific collector, let's say Facebook profile collector. So we are looking at a specific profile that we know what to expect out of. And if we are seeing some kind of deviation, or if we are seeing some kind of errors while trying to get this data, it means that something changed. For example, Facebook changed their appearance drastically a few months ago, and then some things inside the page that me and you we didn't even notice. You know, it's moved a little bit to the right, maybe it's even just disappeared, but we are okay with it because we are human beings and we are kind of adapting really fast. Systems are not adapting fast. We need to make sure that if something is wrong, first we need to get notification about it. So this is exactly what we are doing with our sanity check. And if you want to do it with, by yourself, you need to create some kind of sanity check that is doing every X amount of hours this kind of checks and giving you an output of what's wrong, and of course the report in comparison to what you expect to get. And the second thing is that after, because the hardest thing in solving an issue, the hardest part in solving an issue is to first know that you have an issue. So this thing we know. After you know that you have an issue now, you need to really fix it, and then you can change your code in order to make sure that the things that are now broken is being fixed by alternate your code. I just want to emphasize with Brightdata for public collector, especially for social media, we are doing that also for you.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's probably pretty hard to stay up to date on all of that stuff pretty manually anyway. Happy to take any more questions from anybody in the audience. If you have any more burning questions about how you should be leveraging your data or what data you should be capturing. But other than, I'll give a minute or two for any questions in chat.
And by the way, me and Anna are free to take questions also from our LinkedIn account. So feel free to add us. And if you have any other questions, we will gladly help you in answer all of these questions.
All right. Well, it seems like we don't have too many more questions coming up from our audience. If you, as Itamar said, or feel free to reach out to them on their LinkedIn page to get in contact with them and learn more about Brightdata and how you can use them and their collectors to be able to get all the access to all the information that you need to be getting able to. Oh, we have another one from Kobla. Might as well get to this question as well since we have the time for it. Oh, couple of them. So let's go for
Great.
it. So let's start with the first one. Since you all started, how's data collection changed, and what have you had to do to keep up with the dynamic supply of data?
Let's read it again. How? What's the question again?
Yeah, since you all started, how has data collection changed? Like since you started Brightdata, how has it kind of changed over time, and what have you had to do to keep up with that kind of dynamic, ever growing, ever like iterating supply of data?
So to be honest, the data collection it's not supposed to change that often, because the fundamental of collecting data is kind of the same in the last few years. You need a proxy, you need some kind of an unblocking mechanism in order to make sure that it's not just the right proxy, but also the right mechanism in order to make sure that the site is giving you or showing you the data. What we learned is that most of the demands that our customers are asking us are not unique. They're asking for things that are kind of, and this is why we build the public collector, are very common to almost any kind of startup. Now, collecting the data, as I said, is just the first thing. So as much data as we can collect, we will pass to you. Maybe with 20 or 30%, you will not do anything. Maybe in just 1 year from now, you will start doing something with this data. But with the relevant data points, you can do almost anything that is relevant to your operation. And I have to say that again, it's not just the social media, because some companies are using also other use cases like travel and e-commerce and businesses and all of these things that can also help you make sure that your business has the right data in order for you to succeed. Hopefully I answer it. And the second question, I guess, is early in your presentation, you mentioned Pinterest was most valuable. Anna, this was you?
Yeah, this is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually research which was made by e-commerce platform Nosto, and they compared Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest in terms of how much traffic they bring to retailers. They did this research for retailers. So how much traffic do they bring to retailers, and what is the average value of the order? Means how much money people spend when they go to the retailers time. And what they found out that even the traffic from Facebook and Instagram was higher than from the Pinterest. The average value of the order was much higher with the Pinterest, and it doesn't matter if it was a paid advertisement or it was organic promotion. So it was like, for me, it was eye opener, because it shows that it really doesn't there is no unimportant social media. There is Discord, there is Reddit, there is Quora, there is, like hundreds of social media that you have to monitor. And maybe your use case is so unique that your audience is not sitting really on the Facebook or not really sitting like on the LinkedIn. It may be in some really small social networks. So you should keep looking and keep your mind open to all kind of social networks and try to monitor them now that you have a tools.
Excellent, and thank you for that question to Anna, and thank you both. Ben, thank you both so much for joining us today, Itamar and Anna, for joining us. If there's no other questions, we're happy to get to them. Otherwise, feel free to link them out onto their LinkedIn at Brightdata. And also be sure to check them out on our perks website. Remember, you have about a $500 discount to leverage at the end of this webinar, and we look forward to potentially seeing you on their platform and continuing to see you on our platform at OneValley. Thank you, Itamar, Anna, for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much for hosting us.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, I believe we're going to go ahead and wrap up the session. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will be having another webinar on July 21st. More updates coming on that soon, so be sure to check out our social media presence as well as the Passport for more details coming up. But thank you so much for joining us today.